Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hump day, halfway through the week. Hope everybody's week is going well. Hope you have some fun plans for the weekend. We're getting into, we're into the spring now. Warmer weather coming around in a lot of places. I know a lot of people out there are still cold, but a lot of it coming around. A lot more sun outside. Time to start thinking about getting outside, getting a little bit more active, playing with the kids, just doing whatever. And that'll kind of segue into what I'm talking about today, the raw food diet and vitamin D. I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button now and make sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. I had a video a couple of days ago that people didn't see any of it because it wasn't coming out. It's very random if you haven't actually gone into your YouTube subscriptions and checked to make sure you're getting notifications. All these platforms are always doing these wonky things. It's not just YouTube, it's Facebook's always changing that algorithm and has little tweaks in it, and Instagram, they all do. So anyhow, yep, we're getting into the spring, and as I'm going to be delayed, and I don't know how long, could be indefinitely getting back to Costa Rica, I started thinking of the vitamin D last night, because the vitamin D was something that was foremost on my head of getting back to Costa Rica and starting to soak it up. I have to admit that I've gotten rather neglectful. I just kind of took it for granted when I was living down there in the tropics, and anytime, the tanks were low, just go outside for a period and start storing up. I've gotten very little vitamin D. I don't know. I'd hate to get it checked right now. I could even be deficient since I've been back in the States as of last July. Some of it is, yeah, I got a good excuse for it. It was winter here, gray, whatever, although we didn't have a harsh winter. But there have been a lot of times in this last 8 or 9 months that I could have gotten out there that I haven't. So why is this vitamin D so important? It's crazy important in the body. It helps regulate the amount of calcium and phosphorus in our body. Now, calcium, the vitamin D is a catalyst. It's very, very important for our bone health, our bone and our teeth. Now, what actually vitamin D, it's kind of interesting. It's not actually even really a vitamin. It's a pro-hormone. And our body actually creates it itself. It's created from the sun. And obviously I'll get into that in a little while, some other ways to get vitamin D if and when you don't have access to the sun. But the sun is the source of vitamin D, and it's the real source of vitamin D. It's good. I found out a few things, and I'm just going to go straight from my notes here. Besides promoting bone and teeth health, it supports immune system health. It regulates the insulin level in the body, and it supports lung function and cardiovascular health. Bone and teeth health I knew, but I didn't know that it did those other, it supported other systems in the body. I basically thought vitamin D was pretty much just a bone type issue, but that's interesting to learn about the immune system, the insulin, and lung and cardiovascular health. Now, as I say, the best way to get your vitamin D is from the sun. Now, I was reading a site, and I don't know that I necessarily, I went through a couple of different blog posts, websites, videos to get some various information, just little tidbits out of each. Now, I got some good information from one site. I'm not necessarily sure about this next part I'm going to tell you. What this site was saying, the recommended amount is, they're saying in a fair-skinned person, 5 to 10 minutes of direct exposure on the skin 2 to 3 times a week should be sufficient for most people's bodies to produce an adequate amount of vitamin C. Now, I probably went overboard with that when I was living in Costa Rica, but I think there's probably somewhere in between. Now, there was a while there that I went through periods down in Costa Rica where I remember 2 winters in a row, probably for 3 months solid. I was out in the sun 27 out of 30 or 31 days of the month, and I would generally be out there about 15 minutes on each side, so about 30 minutes exposure probably 5 or 6 times a week. So there may be somewhere in between in that. And also at the time too, when I was doing that, I was thinking, and I'll get to this in a minute, I was thinking, okay, well, I'll store up, because I know when you take a vitamin D supplement, they always say take it with fat, so it's fat soluble. So I thought, and I don't know, I guess I was thinking if I got enough vitamin D that I could store up the excess in the fat cells in my body somehow, not realizing I don't have a ton of fat cells in my body. And yeah, I guess that's not how it really works, because I also read and learned that vitamin D breaks down quickly. And which means your reserves can run low in the winter. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, how fast they run down, like, if you got a certain amount of, excuse me, right there, the telephone, of course, is going to ring when I'm doing a video. Sorry about that, and hopefully they won't call right back. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, is when somebody calls you and they're so insistent to get through that you don't answer the phone or it goes to voicemail, but that's not good enough for them. They turn around and call right back on you. But anyhow, what I was saying is I'm not sure exactly how quickly that the vitamin D runs out, and I don't know how, I don't know the exact amount of storage time, I guess is what I'm getting at. I always was under the assumption that, okay, if you went heavy for a period, say 3 or 4 months, getting just regular daily vitamin D, bing, 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 like, okay, after that 3 or 4 month period, how long do you have theoretically with getting no vitamin D that you're okay? So I would really like to get a little bit more of an accurate idea on that, but you just do the best you can. But we're coming into our spring and summer here, so I can definitely remedy that with some fresh vitamin D, and I will, starting now, starting this week, starting next week. Now that I know I'm not going to the tropics right away, as soon as I start seeing sun, I'm going to start getting out in my backyard more often. Now, I like to get my sun fully all over, so good thing we've got a fairly private backyard here, because I get naked. I like to get the full coverage. There's something about that connection to the sun. There's probably nothing scientific here or whatever, but I just feel just really plugged in when I'm getting sun all over my body. Now there are other ways of getting vitamin D for people that might be in some really gray places where you don't see a lot of sun year round. Well, like I say, in the first place, I don't know. I would definitely look into this subject more. I don't know necessarily my beliefs. I couldn't see myself living long term. This is just my personal choice. I couldn't see myself just the way my philosophies of eating, living, health, whatever. I don't see myself living long term in a place where you didn't have access to, real vitamin D. But for those that do, mushrooms. Everybody seems to agree that mushrooms is a form of vitamin D. Now, I just ironically 2 days ago in that What I Can Eat in a Day video, I actually had some mushrooms. And I think I'm going to start doing that a little bit more often, just to kind of help fill in there, because I don't pay attention and get out. Even when I'm getting sun here in the States, I'm not regular. I just don't have that mindset like when I was in Costa Rica. Like, that's just part of the day, part like exercising. So I think maybe I'll start, having the mushrooms a couple of 3 times a week. But and I think that boosts them a little bit, because I eat them raw, but they're sort of almost kind of cooked by the sun and citrus, because I always I let my mushrooms marinate for usually 6 to 8 hours before I eat them. So I'm putting them in the windowsill in the sun, so I'm hoping I'm getting like a double whammy of the vitamin D by eating when I'm because you're eating the mushrooms that they say contain vitamin D, plus they're soaking up the sun. Plus there's always supplements as well. Now what I understand, and I wrote this one down just so to say, is the vitamin D supplement for vegans is vitamin D2. Apparently the vitamin D3, that form has some sort of an animal product in it. I can't remember, lanolin or something like that. Can't remember exactly, but the vitamin D2 supplements are generally made from mushrooms. So yeah, that vitamin D, that vitamin D is super important. I've seen this a lot. I've seen people that will just really, talk about calcium and talk about their bone health and talk about this component and the formula of needing this and the ratio of that. And you also need phosphorus and you need blah, blah, blah in these ratios. And the sun, vitamin D, is the catalyst that brings all of that together. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely. I've been feeling really good this year, but I think the only missing piece is vitamin D, and I was, like I say, I was waiting just to get back down there and perk up and just see that extra oomph from getting the vitamin D that I'm supposed to have, because I'm quite sure I probably have to be a little deficient by now. But I'm about to jump back on that. This is the time of the year to do it. There's good fruit around. Don't have to worry too much about that. I'm getting plenty of Talfo mangoes. Got up my orange juice. Got my bananas. So life's okay. Life's okay. Just time to plug into some vitamin D. And I just wanted to share that information with you guys. So hope you enjoyed this video today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.